Hello, welcome. In this video I'm going to show you how to build tile worlds using GSpawn Level Designer. I'm using the Lite Edition, but if you're using, for example, the full version, everything still applies. So I'm using a pack called Voxel Blocks pack from Tsunoa Games, and I've already initialized the plugin. I have my prefab set up, and we can just get straight into it. So I'm going to start with the box spawn tool, and I'm going to lay down a bunch of grass tiles. I'm going to search for grass, and I'm going to choose this one, ground light with grass, and I'm going to double click on this prefab right here. I'm going to left click, and I'm going to hold down the control key to make sure that the volume has equal sides. Yeah, and I'm going to create an 18 by 18 volume. And now I'm gonna create some structures on top of this grass. I'm gonna search for brick. Now, for the moment, all our objects are gonna spawn at the root level, but this we're gonna fix this at the end when we're gonna use object groups. Okay, so I'm gonna switch to selection mode, and I'm gonna drag and drop this brick prefab. I think I'm gonna drop it like here, for example. One thing to note, I have my grid cell size set to 0.25. A grid cell size of 1 also works, but there are some objects in this pack which require a 0.25 cell size. Yeah, so this is probably the best value that you can always use. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to show you something. A feature which is available when you're working in selection mode. It's called the Extrude Gizmo. So if I press U on the keyboard, we get this gizmo that surrounds the object, and it has a bunch of arrows and some ticks. And the way it works is that if I use the arrows, I can extrude along a certain direction. If I use the ticks, I can extrude along 2 directions at once. Yeah. Now we're going to use the red arrow, and I'm going to create this structure to be like 7 tiles in length. Alright, I'm going to select the middle tiles, extrude upwards. Alright, now I'm going to press Shift A to select all the brick tiles that I have selected, that I have in the scene, and then I'm going to use the red arrow to extrude the entire structure. Now we have something like this. I'm going to place a bunch of stairs, like going down going upwards in the middle, on each side. So let me go to details, and yeah. If you ever have the scroll bar getting stuck, just resize the window. Sometimes that can happen. Okay, so we have the wood stairs here. I'm gonna drag and drop them in the scene. Now, by default, when you drag an object, notice that it will sit at the base of the grid. Yeah, in my case that wasn't a thing because I've used the plugin in an earlier recording. But in your case, when you drag and drop a prefab, initially it will sit at the base of, actually on the grid. And what this means is that it will be overlapped by the grass tiles. So one way we can solve this is by holding down Ctrl Shift and then using the mouse scroll wheel to push the prefab upwards. You can also use Q and E. Yeah. If you feel more comfortable. You can then use R to reset its offset from the grid. What you can also do is you have this grid snap climb option here. If I enable it, the objects will automatically climb the other objects in the scene. Yeah, so the spawn guide will automatically climb the objects that you hover with the mouse cursor. Sometimes this is useful, sometimes it's not. The hotkey for toggling this on and off is Shift C. Okay, for now I'm going to leave it on, and I'm going to place this, no, actually I'm going to leave it off. I'm going to place this right here, and then I'm going to use the Extrude Gizmo to extrude upwards like this, and then press Ctrl D, activate the Move Gizmo, and then move right here. Okay, now I'm going to activate the Extrude Gizmo again. I'm going to select these middle two tiles here, extrude upwards, okay, both to the left and to the right. Okay, and now I'm going to take this whole thing and I'm going to extrude it backwards. And now I would like to select these objects here sitting at the end, here. And I'm gonna use a tool called Selection Segments. When you move the mouse, notice that you get a tick, a green tick. Selection Segments allows you to basically just draw a bunch of lines in the scene, and the objects which are intersected by these lines will be selected. Yeah, so I'm gonna click on this tile here. And notice when I move the mouse, all the tiles that are intersected by this line are going to get selected. So I'm going to move it here. I'm going to shift left click. And now I can just extrude this downwards. There we go. And now I would like to select the objects that are sitting on the edge, like all of them. Shift left click. And now I would like to replace them with something else, with a brown brick. Alt, left click. There you go. And now I can just extrude these upwards a little bit. And now maybe I'm going to switch to normal selection. You can toggle between these selection tools using Shift 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, I'm going to press Shift 1 to enable selection rectangle. I'm also going to enable the Move Gizmo because sometimes the Extrude Gizmo can get in the way. I'm going to select these two tiles here and I'm going to hold down Alt and left click on this prefab in a prefab manager and then press Y to rotate. Yeah, so this looks a bit more interesting. Let's do the same with these bricks over here. Let's see. I think I'm gonna enable grid snap climb in this case. Yeah, it's much more useful. Press Ctrl D to duplicate, D to enable snapping. Snap it into place, or I can just go to object spawn and just use modular snapping, and again enable grid snap climb. There you go. And we're gonna have to place some of these guys here. All right, actually I would like to have these two deleted and extrude them upwards. And then I would like to have these tiles. Let's just select, I would like to create a doorway, and I'm going to select these tiles in the middle here. Okay, so now we have a doorway, but maybe, yeah, I think it looks pretty well. Okay, now I would like to show you a functionality, kind of functionality, which I'm not sure if people use this very often. I mean, it's been here since I released the initial version of this plugin, but I've never actually been in, you know, people don't really ask me about it, but I think it's a pretty cool feature, especially when you're working with tiles. So if I switch to segments spawn mode, I can create structures such as, such as this, right? Okay, now we also have this, so when working in segments mode, we have a setting called height mode, which is currently set to constant. When it's set to constant, it means that all the heights in this entire structure have the same height, all the tiles have the same height, and you can hold down the shift key and use the mouse scroll wheel to change the height like this. So left click to add segments and then shift left click to commit. Okay, now there's another height mode called random, in which you can specify a minimum and a maximum height. It's currently set to 1.5, and if you use this, notice that you can create structures that are randomized. Now the final thing, the final height mode, and this is the kind of functionality which I would like to talk about, is called pattern. And the best way to actually explain what this does is to actually show you how it works. So I'm going to go to Tools, GSpawn, Windows, and go to Integer Patterns. And so basically an integer pattern is just an array of integer values. Yeah? And in the context of segments, those integer values represent heights, tile heights. So I'm gonna create a pattern called triangle. I'm gonna click on the plus sign, and then here in the right pane I will have to specify the pattern. And for that you have to do something like this. You have to write the add command, then use open bracket. Then you have to specify a series of values that make up the pattern. So in this case I would like it to be an isosceles triangle, which means it's gonna be something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you have to use a semicolon at the end. Press compile. And now if I go here to the settings and select set the pattern to the pattern that we just created, which is triangle, what will happen is you can create something like this, which I think is pretty cool. So now when using, notice that we have this field here called default height, which is currently set to 1. This is useful when working in constant mode. But for all the other modes like pattern and random, it will just add an additional, it's like adding +1 to all these values here. Yeah, so I'm just gonna leave this to 0 for now. There you go. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press Shift C to toggle object climb. I'm gonna start a structure here and just surround this whole thing like it's some kind of fence, right? There you go. And I'm gonna do the same thing here at the top. There, like this. And notice that this now if you ever see your objects floating in the air like this, press R to reset the vertical step offset. Okay. Now you probably noticed that when using segment spawn, and the same is also available for box spawn. So with segments and box spawn, you have this green plane which sits at the bottom of the cube. Now this is called the extension plane, and what this does is it basically it tells you what, in what direction the structure will extend, like the two directions in which you can actually extend the structure, and the height will always grow perpendicular to this plane. So by default it's aligned with the scene XZ plane, but if you want to, you can actually align it with other objects in the scene. So if I hover one of the brick tiles, if I hold down Ctrl Alt and left click, notice that the plane will align with the objects on which I clicked. So now what I can do is I can create the same kind of structure but going perpendicular to the objects. Yeah? I don't know, we can just go crazy with this. Yeah? Something like this. And maybe we can do something, do the same thing here. And here. No, actually I have to press Ctrl Alt again and update the plane. Yeah. So this looks like it's about to fly. Okay. I think it looks pretty cool. Okay. So now of course you can just then you can populate this with props and so on and so forth. But these are the most important tools that I wanted to show you. This thing that we talked about with the extension plane also applies to the box, to the box mode, to the box tool. So now I'm using box. I'm holding down Ctrl Alt, left click. Now I can create a box that extends perpendicular to the object surfaces like this, right? Okay. And box also has a height mode. It can also be set to constant, random, and pattern. And one useful thing when using box, it has a fill mode. Let's actually, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I think it's pretty neat. So let's also talk about the fill mode with the box spawn tool. So I'm gonna just hold down Ctrl Alt and left click to reset the extension plane. When you left click in thin air, like on the grid, it will reset the extension plane. And now I'm gonna use the, so if you use the solid fill mode and you create a box and you use shift to raise the height, what will happen is that it will create tiles, like it will fill this whole thing with tiles which are invisible, right? Now you can use hollow. If you use hollow and we enter inside the structure, notice that it's hollow. And you can also use border, which can create something like this. And you can also choose the border width. In this case, it was set to 3. All right, now the final thing that I would like to show you is, and actually I've already talked about object groups in the introduction video, but I would like to do it again. And we're also going to use mesh combine to combine, meshes based on material. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna switch to selection mode. I'm gonna select one of the brick tiles here. I'm gonna switch to the move gizmo. I'm gonna select one of the gray brick tiles. I'm gonna press Shift C. And then I'm going to go to Tools, GSpawn, Windows, and Object Groups. And I'm going to create an object group called OG Bricks. And I'm going to drag and drop it right here on this brick prefab. And I'm also going to select the brown bricks, Shift C, and oh wait, actually, Shift C, brick brown. Sorry, OG bricks, drag and drop them right here. Okay, now you could actually select all of those bricks by pressing Ctrl A, and you can drag the object. You can drag and drop the object group on these bricks, because after all, those are all bricks. And if you ever plan to, extend this level further, you might use different kinds of bricks. Okay, and then I just press the this button right here, apply object groups links for selected prefabs. What this will do is it will parse the objects. It will attach the selected prefabs to the group to which they have been assigned. But I just want to make sure that both the brown bricks and the gray bricks. Okay, so let's see if this actually worked. OG bricks. Yeah, there you go. We're gonna do the same with grass, with the grass tiles. So I'm gonna create an object group called OG grass, and I'm gonna press Shift C to select the grass tile. I'm gonna select all of them and then drag and drop the OG grass object group, and press this button right here. And then finally we have these things which I'm gonna classify as being props. Shift C. If you ever press a hotkey and it doesn't work, it means that the keyboard focus is on one of the editor windows. So sometimes you might want to, for example, right click on the scene view to make sure that the hotkeys work. Okay, so I press Shift C, it's already selected. I'm gonna select all of these guys here and then drag and drop the OG props object group, and then press assign object group links for selected prefabs. Oh, okay, okay. We forgot about these guys. So I'm going to select all of the prefabs here, assign bricks. There you go. Okay, so at this point we have bricks, grass, and props, and we can verify that they've been assigned to the correct groups by actually disabling them. You notice that if we disable the OG bricks object group, all the objects will be hidden. We can do the same with grass, and finally with props. So everything is disabled at this point. Let's go ahead and enable them. And now finally let's combine our meshes to reduce draw calls. So we can go to Tools, GSpawn, Lite, Windows, Mesh Combine. Make sure you also have combine dynamic meshes. Sometimes if you click on if you combine meshes and you get a message that no objects were combined or something like that, it's most likely because you forgot to check combine dynamic meshes, and the objects that you are combining are actually dynamic. So we're going to use the combine children functionality here, which allows you to specify a source parent and a destination parent. So the source parent is the parent that contains the children that you would like to combine, and then you have the destination parent, which is the the parent that will house all the the final results, right, of the combine process. So we're going to create three objects. I'm going to call them combined bricks. This one is going to be combined grass, and this one's going to be combined props. Okay, so I'm going to drag and drop. We have to specify the source parent. I'm going to drag and drop the OG bricks here in this field, and then I'm going to drag and drop the combined bricks object in the second field, and then click on combine children. I'm going to do the same with grass. OG grass, combine grass, combine children, and then finally with the props. Right, so now if we take a look at these objects, you can see that we have a bunch of combined objects, and all the renderers, the original objects are still in the scene, but the renderers have been hidden, and now these are the objects that we can render. Notice that when I select combined bricks, it selects all the bricks. Yeah, so if I disable this, so we have the gray bricks, and we have the brown bricks. We also have the grass tiles and the props. Okay. All right. So this is all I wanted to show you in this video. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.